I said, look, he sounds like he's got amazing experience. Would be absolutely perfect, but I'm actually looking for a woman. It turns out Steve was a woman. Steve is short for Stephanie. One of her goals as mayor is to harness the community's collective talent, energy and vision to take Rotorua into a great future. How's that going?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah?
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, different than Wellington days?
You can get so much more done, actually, Michael, at a local level, but you also have to have the plan. And I had a year out of politics where I reconnected with the community and I could see the gaps. Because you had a political framework of thinking that you learnt in government for 12 years, you learnt the art of the possible. So getting around, reconnecting with the community, I could see where the need was, and so started to work with some great community leaders to have a plan ready as soon as I got in, if I got in. I was born into a big family and there were 2 boys, 1 at each end, Bill and Dick, and four women in the middle.
You're leaving that wide open space. We're all going there very quickly.
Yeah, and so, but this is what makes you political. So I had to get heard. There were 6 children and 4 welfare children. So I had to get heard somewhere and I had to find a place to pop up. And so I always made myself clearly understood as a little girl, but we did all sit around the table and eat food together. And that's where we talked about politics and some very diverse politics in our family history too. But I think that's where it framed my values. And so stuck in the middle and having to be heard. So at school I seemed to make myself heard. I became a prefect and then I went on into nursing and I got rid of nursing caps. There's some nurses in the audience today. I thought they were the most stupid piece of adornment that actually just showed your hierarchical position. And I was a midwife and I was listening to babies' heartbeats and this point of my cap pinged into a woman's puku while I thought, I'm getting rid of these are stupid, but they didn't fit on my fine hair either. So I was always political. And then other women saw that in me and encouraged me to stand. We travelled the world, came back after 6 years away with 2 children, and came back and I was asked to stand in local body politics. I had been very involved in the politics of birthing for women. So we got rid of doctor control of birthing and said women should trust their bodies, and that framed everything about me. And women, of course, do it very well most of the time, 85% of the time. So we started a birthing movement in New Zealand, and I was very involved in active birthing politics. And then people said, now what's next? And I don't think I ever had a plan. For those of you that think you wake up in the morning and you've got this huge plan, but I did know how to activate people. And that's, listening to Cleona this morning, I thought there aren't any champions there any longer. And what worries me when I come and talk to a group of particularly young women, we were real activists in our time. I was a real activist around women's health rights and abortion. They're not there now. And so we're giving away a lot of our arguments about what makes us women. And we're thinking politicians will do it.
Why aren't they?
I think we're so busy. I look at my daughter and she's just so busy. She's holding down a job. She's got 2 children. She's the primary income earner. She gets home and I watch her go and I think, I suppose I used to be like that. But she goes, Mum, I love your passion, but I'm not going to go there. And actually, when we examine her politics, I thought they would be mine about social democracy, but they're not really. They're all over the place. So I think each time she says, I'll vote. Yeah. I'll vote green this time because we're doing this. And I go, where do you think you can make the most difference, Hannah? Where do you think you can get active, and get involved? And she said, just being a good mother, actually, Mum. So a lot of women that I meet, and I did when I was Minister of Women's Affairs, I went round and met women's union movements and women movements in politics at university, and they were all tired, quite frankly, really tired. So that's where I was saying the issues that Cleona was talking about that should worry us all, should really worry us all. Perhaps it is now the media that picks them up, because they are all looking at social media and they're reading MiNDFOOD. I didn't realise how many women read MiNDFOOD, but said, whoop, here you going there, that's fantastic. You know, good plug for you, Margaret.
Yeah, very nice.
But that is the new medium, and then also social networking. Well, actually the media has changed dramatically when you look at a political framework, because it's gone more into social media and people trolling through what whale oil's saying, what the blog sites are saying, and then picking up the news line from there. So now as a mayor, I realise we've got to use the social media, and we're getting very interactive on our website, and I do shows that we stream on our website because we think that's a far more important space for us to grab to tell our story about a recovery.
But do you think it's also a bit dangerous when someone at home who's sitting in their pyjamas can be opinionated, are pretty ill-informed, and can have an opinion out there, have a big following, and before you know it, you know, that's become gospel?
Well, that's your value system again. So you've got to rebut it, but you've got to be very aware. There are lots of couch potatoes that watch us and chuck rocks at us. And when I went through the smoke-free journey, actually, and that was 15 years, and that was a law change that I picked up and sponsored when I got in 99. And Tariana's picked it up now. But, you know, after Tariana, where's the next champion? And we're not promoting women to stand in politics. We're not actually actively going out to encourage women to stand for politics, just because we've got a different lens, that's all. It's no better than a man's, but we think of things differently, and we need to be bringing new leaders through to get them into Parliament, get them into local government, get them on boards of trustees, you know, get them thinking politically.
But do you think there are a lot of women out there like your daughter who it's all a bit too hard? In actual fact, my life's pretty busy with my kids, my job, my whatever my life is. And when I look on TV or I read in the newspaper and politicians or people in a position of, you know, power, they might seem a bit dodgy, or they're kind of saying the right thing because it's going to get a media grab.
Well, that's your value system.
But do people really want to be part of that life?
No, I don't think they do.
Does your daughter really, have probably seen some harsh treatment of you through the years, does she really want to step into that world?
But she admires and respects the fact that we picked up the battle and we advocated for it. So yes, she does, and so do her contemporaries, who are just as intelligent as us. And so I believe the message hasn't changed, but the way we promote the message is absolutely critical for us to hold firm on our values. I lost in politics because of my position on abortion, but I didn't worry about that. I thought I'll go and do something else. So that, you know, you can't knock someone down really for long if they've got a dream. So now I'm still actively involved, but I've picked up local issues more that we can put right locally. So I think it's neighbourhood by neighbourhood, village by village. You grow a community, and strong communities grow a country. You've got to find a way through. And that's your space, that space about obesity and the fat tax. The day I got the Smoke-Free Environment Act through, I had lobbyists in my office, because they saw this as a woman prepared to pick up something and drive it through, to ask me to now implement a fat tax. And I just said, go away, I'm really tired. I've had death threats, I've had police escort, I've had so much hate mail, but I believed in what I was doing, so you stuck at it. And look at our journey now. It's not radical now. I'm not the one they all hate because we stopped smoking in bars and cafes. In fact, we're all now saying, you can smoke if you like, but just keep my space, my air clear. And what can we do next in terms of public health? What's the next step on a public health journey? So obesity's a space that's taken a lot of time. Folate fortification of flour to those parents who have got children with spina bifida and neural tube defects. That space is just as important as the EpiPen. So where do you get your argument through to politicians? And I wouldn't even worry about their politics. but you've got to actually inform them that this is a very big issue for you, and the smoking reform went through because I got the facts given to me to argue. So you've got to do it. Don't worry about their politics. Go to your local politician, but also go to the Prime Minister. Make it a nuisance for them. And then they do try to listen and they want you to go away. So they then say, do some work on this for me and get it back. So you can't give up the battle.
What is it that we all lack that, you strike me as very passionate and get in there and get it done and move it forward, but there are times where it's all can get too hard and you want to throw it away?
Well, I think women always talk about, or anybody talks about a network, and women put me into politics, quite frankly, through birthing. And then I said to Max Bradford, I've delivered 5,000 babies, and he never worked it out that they don't all turn 18 at once to vote. And he was an economist, and I thought, well, actually, work it out, Max, that's been over a long, long time. But that personal contact. But we have networks. And the one thing that frightens a lot of men and those that don't link up with networks is we'd say, we'll get this round the network. And women are incredibly supportive if they think there's a value proposition in what you're going to do. Otherwise, they're nowhere near you. So it's just through networks that kept me going, and I had built up lots of networks.
During that time, though, and coming through in the value of a network, how tough was it, though, when you came up against another woman whose agenda was quite different? Like, how do you combat that and still keep your value system?
Because if you believe in what you're going to do, and if you believe you've got just the right skills and you are the right person at that time, you must persevere. And that's your value system. I can remember taking on a colleague for a job that I really wanted, and because I knew my skills just were made for this job, and she thought she was naturally going to flop into it because she'd been a much longer term politician than me, and I took her on. But I did it with a plan. So I got some other people that believed in the same end for us all and said, we've got to stack this committee, we've got to stack the voting, you've got to turn up in time. Politics is only the art of the possible, but you must have a plan. And I think in the workplace, I see a lot of women marginalised in the workplace, and they go away, but you've got to reconstruct your argument and have another crack at it if you believe it's right. And then you've got to find someone else in your organisation who is on your side, really, and believes in what you want to achieve. And they're always there. Just it's doing a bit of work around where at this table is there someone that I think we could start to form a bit of an alliance over this issue. And if it's a value issue that it may be, I don't like your style, I don't like the way you run this organisation, then you can't do it on your own. You've got to get alliances around you. But being political, that's where we get it all wrong. It's just being active. And it's just trying to move an argument, any argument, forward into the next space, just like MiNDFOOD is trying to do. It's trying to think holistically about what we are and how we can make life better for our bodies and our families, and So you are political. You may go, no, I'm not, I stay way away from it. You are very political.
But sometimes in life it's tough, isn't it? Because I'm a great believer of timing. I talked a little bit about that earlier today, that time is a great healer. It comes along at the right time. But it's also frustrating.
Well, it is frustrating. No one said life was simple, really, was it? And I think that's what I learned in a big family. You don't always get your way, and I was also jammed between two beautiful sisters, and I was the rather plain one. So I learnt then to assert myself. So it's your personality as well, without you really knowing it. But it's knowing your strengths of your personality and not overplaying them. So
well, we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
And I don't know if these were playing, but it doesn't matter. Oh, they were.
Thank you very much. Really great.